We're going to go ahead and look at notes 1, 2 for Algebra 1. And we're looking at order of operations and evaluate expressions. And we learned in our last lesson an expression has no equal sign. So, can I apply the correct order of operations and simplify expressions? I want to start with, can you solve this problem? It's a solve it. 2 squared plus 4 times 3. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to see if you can solve it, and then we're going to see if we do the problem the same way. So some of you maybe got 24. That's incorrect. Okay. Maybe you got, I don't know. We got all kinds of different answers, probably. And I want to walk through, we have order of operations so that we all get the same answer. And so if we look at this, the correct answer for this one is we need to take care of our exponents first. So 2 squared is 4. Bring down my plus, bring down my 4, and my times 3. This stylus isn't working very well either. Let me just start over with that. Times 3. There we go. Then we have to take care of our multiplication next. 4 times 3 is 12. Bring down my 4 plus 12. And so the correct answer for this one is 16. If you got 16, you did it correctly. So 24 would have been incorrect. And we want to walk through what are the correct order of operations. What are those steps? So here we go. The very first step is that we have to take care of our parentheses or our grouping symbols. That is first. And when we think of our grouping symbols, we think of parentheses, we can have brackets. This is the very first step that we always take care of. The last problem we looked at did not have grouping symbols. The next step after grouping symbols is we want to take care of our exponent or exponents if there's more than one. And so in my example I just gave you, we had exponents. So this is our second step. The exponent in the problem above was 2 squared. So what that means is 2 times itself. So that is an exponent. And the third step is going to be that we take care of multiplication and division. And we always want to make sure that we take care of this from left to right. So whichever comes first, left to right. So if multiplication comes before division, left to right, that's what you do. If division comes before multiplication, you take care of division first. And then our next step and our final step after we take care of that would be to take care of our addition and subtraction. And again, this is also something that we want to take care of from left to right. So I'm going to walk through some examples with you. And many of you maybe have heard of the terminology called PEMDAS. And that stands for Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. And that is a way for us to walk through all of these problems, making sure that we solve them in the correct order. So the first thing, looking at example 1, I notice I have parentheses or a grouping symbol. And so since I have a grouping symbol, I'm going to take care of that first. So 6 minus 2 is 4. I bring everything else down. I brought down my parentheses. I brought down my exponent to the power of 3. Bring down my division. And bring down the 2. So I took care of my parentheses first. The next thing you're going to ask yourself is, do you have exponents? And the answer is yes. So we need to take care of our exponents. 4 cubed, that means 4 times 4 times 4. And so 4 to the third power is 64. So that was my next step, was taking care of my exponents. And bring down the divide, and bring down the 2. And my very last step that I have for this problem is to do the division. Take care of the division. That's the last thing. And 64 divided by 2 is 32. And so that would be your final answer. You would have simplified and evaluated this problem. Remember, it is an expression. And so when we have an expression, we do not have an equal sign. And these are the steps that you will take to evaluate. Grouping symbols first, exponents second, multiplication and division third, left to right, addition and subtraction last, left to right. Let's go ahead and look right here. We've got a couple other examples. This next example, we have a fraction, which means division, but because we have the fraction and we have more than one operation in the numerator, we want to make sure that we actually take care of the top. So we're going to take care of the top first. We're going to take care of the bottom, and then we're going to divide. So we want to evaluate the top, then evaluate the bottom, and then divide. So let's look at the top. I have 2 different operations in the top. I see an exponent and subtract. Well, exponent comes first. So we want to take care of 2 to the 4th power first. And 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And then I have my subtract 1. You're going to notice I'm working left to right on this problem on my paper only because of the big fraction bar. On the last problem, I moved down my paper as I worked. We still leave the 5 at the bottom. And now, do I have any other operations in the top? I'm taking care of just the top first, and I have subtraction. And 16 minus 1 is 15. And divide it by 5. And so you have taken care of all operations in the numerator, the top of the fraction. You have no operations in the bottom of the fraction. And we are simply left with 15 divided by 5, which is the number 3. And you have evaluated this problem. You have simplified it. Let's look at our very last example where we have letters. But out to the right, I have what those letters stand for. And those letters stand, the X is going to stand for the number 5. And the Y is going to stand for the number 2. And what I wrote down here that I'm going to kind of star is that whenever we plug in or substitute those numbers into the letter X, we need to make sure that we put it in parentheses. So I'm going to take my 5, which represents my X, and it is going to replace both of the X's that I see. And I'm going to take my number 2, and it's going to replace the Y value that we see. And if I substitute those in parentheses, it would look like this. A parenthesis, the number 5, because that's what the X value, and we still have that squared. Bring down my plus sign. I see another X. I'm going to write another number 5 minus 12 divided by the Y is a 2 and squared. So all I did first was plug all those numbers in. The next thing we want to remember is our order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide left to right, add and subtract left to right. So for parentheses, I don't have any operations inside my parentheses. We only have parentheses because we plugged in. So I don't have parentheses. Exponents. I actually have two different exponents here. So I'm going to start with the first one, 5 squared. And 5 squared is 25. And my other exponent is 2 squared. And 2 times 2 is 4. And I'm going to bring everything else straight down. Plus 5 minus 12 divided by 4. So we took care of our exponents. Next, we need to make sure we take care of our multiplication or division, or both if we have it. And here I only have division at the very end. And so we need to take care of that. What is 12 divided by 4? Well, it is 3. And we bring everything else straight down. 25 plus 5, bring down the subtract, and then we just did 12 divided by 4, which was 3. So we took care of all our multiply and divide. And the very last step is addition and subtraction, and we need to make sure we go left to right. So which one comes first? The 25 plus 5 comes first, which is 30. Bring down your subtract 3, and 30 minus 3 is 27. You have evaluated, simplified this problem. So our practice will be over using the correct order of operations. If at any time you need to pause this video, rewind it, re-watch it, please do so to make sure that you get everything written down. Have a good one.